at least the farmers, the peasants will be guaranteed uninterrupted power supply. If not the middle class, at least the farmers. I'm very happy to learn from Shripad Deshpandeji that the new government has paid attention to an issue which has been ignored by all the previous governments of undivided Andhra Pradesh, and that is the issue of rejuvenation of tanks. And being the Deccan Plateau, tanks historically for last 1,000 years almost have been the major source of irrigation and potable water in villages. And these have been ignored, and silt had collected at the bottom, and now a major program has been undertaken by the new government to remove the silt and make the tanks available for irrigation and potable water. More than 46,000 tanks, and this program is already gathering momentum. Let's hope that all those tanks in the next few years will be rejuvenated. I think this is a reflection of the kind of vision which Prof. Jayashankar was concerned with. And one must congratulate the entire people of Telangana for having persuaded the government to give priority to rejuvenation of tanks. We all know the importance. I was also told that in two regions of Telangana where there is a major fluoride, impact of fluoride causing ill health to the people, on advice of experts, a major program for surface irrigation has been undertaken to lift irrigation, and so that in the near future those people will be able to use that water both for irrigation and for drinking safely. Now these are some of the indications, I think. This is just the beginning, these are indications. And one hopes that these indications will not be exceptions, they will become the rule in the times to come. And this is a great test not only for the government, it's a test for the movement which we have inherited from Prof. Jayashankar to carry forward the movement. If you do not, then the state government here, despite its commitments, may go back to the ways in which the three other state governments have gone back. We must ensure that this does not happen. And this is a great challenge to all of us. And I'd like to focus on this challenge. I'll take example of education, which I know better than other fields. What is that challenge with education listed before us? It's a challenge to ensure that education becomes available equitably to all children and all youth of this country. This challenge we have received as part of the heritage of freedom struggle for the whole of the country, not just for Telangana. Savitribai Phule, when she set up in 1848 4 schools for girls, gave a message to the country that education of the girls is a priority. By starting those schools in Marathi as the mother tongue and the medium of education, she also challenged the then rapidly emerging policies of Macaulayan policy that Indian languages are not good enough for acquiring modern knowledge, not good enough as medium of communication of modern knowledge. So she challenged, Savitribai challenged. In many ways, she seeded the idea of common school system in the country in 1848. In 1882, Jyotiba Phule, after having completed his historic document called Gulamgiri, in which he traced the whole history of caste struggle in India and argued that history of India is essentially history of caste struggle. There's no time to go over that, but it's very important to recall that when we are planning the new Telangana and fighting for new Telangana. And in 1882, when he presents his memorandum to the first Education Commission of British Raj, he challenges the British Empire by saying that it is an irony that the British Empire in India collects all its revenues from the hard, productive labor of the working class including peasantry. But when that revenue is used for providing education, then it benefits only the upper classes and upper castes. The issue of class and caste was raised by Phule in the context of education as way back as in 1882. He goes on to talk about the kind of curriculum and the kind of pedagogy which schools should have, and challenges the British Raj on its recruitment policy of the teachers. Phule writes that teachers in India's schools should be those people who can hold a plough and plough the field, and should be such people who can take a saw and cut wood and convert it into utilizable items. Only then, he says, only such teachers can relate to the children of this country. If you do not have such people who are engaged in productive labor, they will not be able to teach also. This contention of Phule continues to be under test. It will continue to be under test until all teachers learn to relate with the masses of our children and youth. The third issue of that memorandum which I want to recall, which very few people realize, not even in Maharashtra, where Phule came from, and that is his contention that no nation can advance without making a commitment to higher education. And that commitment should be such that higher education is under the social control of the people of that country. It's very important to recall, because you will shortly hear how social control over India's higher education is rapidly slipping out of her hand and likely to be out of her hand before this year is over. I'll return to this scheme. And Phule warned us. We also take inspiration from Rajarshi Shahu, the Maharaja of the small state of Kolhapur, who set up in late 1890s India's first common school system, and probably the only one until now. India's first common school system was set up in Kolhapur state. One highlight of that common school system is about resources, about finance for education. Kolhapur state spent more on its education system from primary upward to colleges than British Raj spent in the entire Bombay Presidency. And what was Bombay Presidency? It's a signal for the new government of Telangana also. What was Bombay Presidency? It comprised the present Gujarat, the present Maharashtra, several districts of present Karnataka and Telangana as well. That was the Bombay Presidency. The large chunk of India would receive less money for education from British rulers than Maharaja of Kolhapur gave, only out of the revenue of his own small little tiny state of Kolhapur. So those who continue to talk about the lack of resources must get this signal. It is not a question of lack of resources, it's a question of your priorities for the people. There is no lack of resources today in this country. There are plenty of resources. In fact, let me say that India today is a rich country whose people are poor. हिंदुस्तान एक अमीर मुल्क है जिसकी जनता गरीब है. Just remember this when you talk of education. And you'll be told again and again we don't have money. So just remember this. And remember Rajarshi Shahu of Kolhapur. We also take inspiration when we talk of what kind of education system we want today from Gokhale, who tabled a right to education bill in 1911, and that bill was defeated by two sets of forces. One were the feudal forces led by Maharaja of Darbhanga of Bihar, who collected 11,000 signatures from landlords, the feudal lords of that time, and the memorandum given by him to the Imperial Assembly said that if all children go to school, who will do farming in our farms? At least he spoke the truth. Today our rulers do not have the courage to speak the truth. The 6 crore out of 20 crore children in 6 to 14 year age group are essentially child labor. And the new government is now diluting child labor law in order to legitimize child labor. So that is the new central government, not the new government of Telangana. We have to see how the new government of Telangana state will engage with the Dilution of Child Labour Act by the central government. That engagement is a very crucial engagement. And we look forward to this in the next few weeks, when this engagement will have to be undertaken by the Telangana government with the central government and government of all states. But from those state government we don't have much expectation. Our expectation is from Telangana show a new path to the whole country. We also take inspiration from Gandhiji, who gave a call in 1920 right after Jallianwala Bagh to all the students and teachers in colleges and universities to quit their colleges and universities, come out and set up national colleges and national universities. And amazingly, a large number of people responded. One outstanding name who responded is of Dr. Zakir Hussain, who came out of Aligarh Muslim University while he was a student of MA in economics, set up a one-room college and expanded it later on, and later on became what we now know as the Central University of Jamia Millia Islamia. The other name, outstanding name, is of Bhagat Singh, who went not to a government college but to newly set up national college and learned how to fight for freedom and fight against imperialism in a national college. This is what I am trying to indicate is the meaning of education. If education does not prepare us for such important nation building tasks, then what else is education for? If it is only going to prepare us to become part of the global workforce, and the new central government has announced that India is going to be made into the largest supplier of workforce, skilled workforce for the global market. We should be happy that neither Dr. Zakir Hussain nor Shahid-e-Azam Bhagat Singh became part of the skilled workforce. We also take inspiration from Gandhi again when in 1937 in Wardha in Maharashtra he gave his classical address to an education conference and laid out the nature of schools we'll have, the kind of educational program we have, curriculum and pedagogy in free India, and argued that all knowledge, all values and all skills can and must grow out of productive work. And who's engaged in productive work? Productive work belongs basically to the more than 80% of our people even today who are either Dalits, tribals, Muslims and OBCs. Those backward castes, lower castes which are engaged in productive work of various kinds. It is that productive work which according to Gandhi should be at the center of India's modern classrooms after freedom. It is probably precisely for this reason, because the backward castes were going to be put in the leadership of the classrooms, that the entire program of Nai Talim proposed by him based upon productive work were rejected by Free India. There are other reasons also, but I am not going into it to save time. In 1938, a year later, at the Haripura Congress, a resolution was passed by the Congress party under Gandhi's leadership. It was a 3-point resolution. It said that all education up to class 8 shall be state funded and entirely free. Entirely free. And this is another signal for the new government of Telangana to ensure that all education for all children of Telangana becomes entirely free as per the 1938 resolution as part of the freedom struggle. So other states have failed to do this. My expectations are after reading Prof. Jayashankar are also rising high and higher. The second part of the resolution said all education in schools will be through mother tongue as medium. Another challenge. I'll return to this. Third, that all education shall be provided through productive work. And this program will be along the lines of Nayi Talim as proposed by Gandhiji and as formalized in the Dr. Zakir Hussain Committee report already by 1938. This 3-point agenda continues to be our challenge because all of this has been rejected by independent India. Entirely. Lock, stock and barrel. Never accepted. I'm not going to reason why it was not accepted. It is this challenge when we think of common education system from KG to PG. Entirely free, entirely state funded, with no space for privatization of any kind or commoditization of education at any level. Does it mean there is no space of private effort? No. Space of private effort was there during the freedom struggle and after independence also. But private effort cannot be in violation of our constitution. It has to be in consonance with the constitution. Now what does the constitution say? The preamble of the constitution talks about that we the people are going to build a democratic, socialist, secular, sovereign state which will ensure equality and equal opportunity, which will ensure social justice for all sections of society, which will ensure fraternal society. Therefore, any school system, anywhere in the country, including Telangana, New Telangana, which does not fall in line with the preamble of the Constitution, violates the Constitution. What does it mean? It means that any multi-layered school system or multi-layered college or university system where every section of society is provided a separate layer of education. In Bihar, the lowest of the Dalits are provided, they're called Musahar because they still survive by eating rats even in the modern day India. Musahars are given one kind of school system. The Dalits above Musahar are given provided another kind of school system and so on and so forth. A multi-layered school system provided by a highly fragmented, disparate Indian society. Some sociologists of great standing in the country argue, why do you expect a common school system in India when India itself is divided into many layers of caste, class, language, gender, of course? The answer to that doubting spirit of these sociologists is that if sociology was going to determine what kind of school system or education system we are going to have, then we don't need a government, we don't need a constitution. Then let them decide. The very fact that India has become a state, a sovereign state according to our constitution, democratic state, means it has got constitutional obligation to ensure that whatever is wrong with Indian society for the last 5,000 years is undone as rapidly as possible. If Indian state is only going to mirror the various disparities and injustices and inequalities of the Indian society, then don't need the government.